the Commanders of all teams. They're 4-1. There's your odds to get to the playoffs. That was Sam put the odds up, so you can take that for what it's worth. Our little producer here. Cowboys and Eagles. Cowboys are 3-2. The Eagles have already had their bye. They're 2-2. 53% for Philadelphia. I don't know why. How has Philadelphia got a better percentage to make the playoffs than the Cowboys do, and the Cowboys have one more win? I can't understand that. And the Giants, who had a great win against Seattle, they're at 2-3. Now, yesterday, of course, Jerry Jones did his radio program, heard by about 6 people in Dallas, and talking about the Cowboy identity after that win Sunday night against Pittsburgh. Here's Jerry.
I'd like to think that grit that they showed last night or Sunday night, and that just refusing to take no for an answer. That's something that we did experience it, and so we can build off of it because it happened to us. It happened for us. We've got a chance, in my mind, to evolve and be there ready at the end with the qualifications to get in the playoffs and maybe go further than we've been going.
1 a.m., of course, on 4th down. Good job by Prescott with the 70-yard drive. That game was a goofy game, and it was odd, and it wasn't great, but the Cowboys got the job done. All right, Kimberly, bigger letdown right now. You start us. Cowboys or Eagles in the NFC East?
Oh, I think the only answer here is Eagles. Because just, number one, what were the expectations for both of these teams? I think when you look at the talent coming into the season, you thought Philly's got a good roster. They may have questions at head coach. Maybe the head coach and the quarterback aren't on the same page always, but the roster is good. This is a team that should actually get to the playoffs and be vying for a Super Bowl. Whereas you look at the Cowboys, despite what Jerry Jones has told us, we knew coming into this season, boys, that this was not going to be a good roster from the standpoint of it took a step back from last year. When you look at this run game, yes, they brought back Ezekiel Elliott. This was a guy that they had and then let go, and then 2 years later, like, hey, you know what? He wasn't so bad after all. This was a roster that had holes. Jerry didn't make the necessary adjustments for this roster in free agency last year at the trade deadline, this year in free agency, waited so long to pay the quarterback and the wide receiver. I think when we're looking at the Eagles, we see a team that should be a lot better than losing to the Falcons, losing to the Bucks. And if they lose to the Browns, forget it. I don't know what I would say about that team.
Yeah, have to be Cleveland. Stevie, go ahead.
I totally disagree with Kimberly. I'm not trying to let the Cowboys off the hook. We ain't having that. $60 million quarterback, CeeDee Lamb, and $136 million. A.J. Brown is out injured. Devontae Smith was out injured. Lane Johnson was out injured. You okay? There's a lot of stuff to prove. And then you got Sirianni. He's on a hot seat in some people's eyes, and their defense is trash half the time. Oh, there's a lot of problems in Philadelphia. So the word disappointment might come to some people's mind, but in the end, the combination of injuries, new coordinators, a coach being on a hot seat, defense being questionable, those weren't the things we were saying about the Dallas Cowboys coming into this season. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sergeant Friday, a.k.a. Jeff Saturday. I thought Micah Parsons was going to be one of the highest paid defensive players. That's what I thought. DeMarcus Lawrence, I know him and Micah Parsons was out last games, but before then they was getting ran roughshod over. Everybody could run on them until they ran into the New York Giants, who don't have much of a running game. Their defense was absolutely porous. Offensively, where's your running game? Non-existent. Your passing game, it's CeeDee Lamb and nobody else. What's up with that? It's America's team. We were wondering whether or not the Dallas Cowboys season was going to be over had they not rolled into Pittsburgh last Sunday night and handled their business because Steelers offense forgot to show up. We got to remember that too. So when I'm looking at a disappointment or a bigger letdown this season, I expected some trouble from the Philadelphia Eagles the minute you lose A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson. I didn't expect this much trouble from the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. The Dallas Cowboys looked highly suspect. Hell yeah, they're the bigger letdown this season in terms of their expectations.
You know
not even close. Kimberly,
he's not telling the truth.
We're going to get back to you. We'll get to you. You'll get a chance. We got to give Jeff Saturday a chance to babble.
I love dog being. Molly, get back as soon as you can. Okay, moving on. The Cowboys are by far the biggest letdown, and I 100% agree. The Dallas Cowboys have trotted out and embarrassed themselves a number of times. The Eagles, for whatever you want to say, they're a Saquon Barkley drop away from being 3-1. So when we're talking about
Is
the Dallas
head
Cowboys
coach
got
on the hot seat
sure,
or not?
but
still?
because of last year, he's on the hot seat. But from what you're talking about, so you're telling me the Cowboys haven't looked awful in comparison to what you did you think they were going to give up 1,000 yards rushing in the first? Nobody thought they were going to have that. Nobody thought that Dak Prescott and this offense would look as inept as it has until the other night. And again, against the Steelers, they got to get bailed out. This team has not performed up
we knew
to
coming into this
expectations.
season that they had CeeDee Lamb and then Brandon Cooks, who's a wonderful receiver, but at times they forget he's in the offense. We're looking at the run game thinking like, okay, you had a chance to get Derrick Henry last year. You had a chance to get Derrick Henry this offseason, and you didn't do it. We looked at this roster and thought, I don't know if the Cowboys are actually going to be that good this year.
I didn't think that. I did not think that. I didn't think they would not be good.
Kimberly's 100% right. First off, Dallas has got 3 wins, and Philadelphia's got 2 wins.
Right.
Dallas has got 2 straight wins on the road against Pittsburgh. Everybody thinks their defense is phenomenal, and he went down the field twice, and 70-yard drive to win the game, and a 90-yard drive prior to that.
should be
Plus the
praising
fact
the
the Eagles are
Cowboys
lucky
right
they
now.
beat the Saints. The Saints screwed the game
What
up.
did the Saints do to the Cowboys?
Yeah, but they
They
were
beat them by 100.
They were losing the game, Jeff,
Oh,
and
my
they had the
gosh.
3rd and 16. The Eagles are 2-2. They got Barkley. All right, A.J. Brown missed a couple of games. Take it easy. The Eagles are fortunate.
Take it easy. And Devontae Smith.
But
You're
come
on
on,
the
the
same
Eagles have got to
side.
be they're
If
2-2.
Saquon Barkley catches a 3rd down pass, y'all,
We
they
were
are
literally
3-1.
debating-
They didn't catch it, Jeff, and
Oh,
then they
my
let him go right
God.
down
You
the
are on
field.
the
The
same side as
Cowboys
Steven.
can't
That should
stop the
tell you
run
something.
and can't run the ball.
They're
That's
3-2,
disappointing.
Jeffrey.
Great, but they're still disappointed. Come on now.
It's
Y'all-
more. The
We
Eagles are
lit-
2-2.
We
Dallas is
literally
3-2.
said
How
no.
could
They have
win
a
that?
bye. They have
we
a bye.
said last week, looking at the Cowboys' schedule, these next 5-7 games, where do you see a win? And guess what the Cowboys did? They went to Pittsburgh and got a win. So off that alone, the Eagles are far more disappointing. I'm sure people in the Eagles building would tell you, you know what? We actually are more disappointing
Steve,
than the
they're
Cowboys.
500.
I agree with Kimberly, Steve. I know
That's
you
all
and Jeff
we
on the
need to
same
know.
point. You have the last thought here.
I'm going to say it again. If Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Lane Johnson and the boys were there, it would be an entirely different story. We were talking about after 3 games how the Eagles could have easily been undefeated if Saquon Barkley hadn't dropped that pass that would have gotten them a first down against Atlanta. The fact of the matter is, over the last couple of weeks, the Eagles have been a huge disappointment. The Eagles with their disappointing selves, no doubt, but we expected it with Sirianni, with the injuries that they've had, etc. With the Dallas Cowboys, no one expected them to look this bad defensively. Nobody expected them to resemble a team that was just about Dak Prescott throwing the ball to CeeDee Lamb. Nobody expected that at all. It's been a disappointment
But they
in
still
terms
beat your
of what you
Steelers, didn't
expected.
they?
And they beat the
still
Giants,
beat
Yes,
the
who
they
look
did.
now all of us.
Which is an
They're
indictment
3-2.
against the Steelers.
Jeez, guys, take it easy. They're
Which
over
is-
500.
Oh, my word.
You both done?
You're agreeing with Steven. You
Giants.
see?
Yeah, I
You
know.
see?
Kimberly and I, you're on the wrong side of
No,
it.
I'm on the right side. I mean, it's a rarity, but Stephen A's right on this one. It's rare,
I am right.
but we're
I
together.
am
We're
right.
together.
It ain't rare. It ain't rare.
It's
It
rare,
ain't rare.
but I'm with you on
It
this
ain't rare.
one.
It ain't
Who
rare.
would've
It ain't rare,
thought?
blue
Let's
eyes.
change it.
It ain't
Let's
rare,
change
blue
it.
eyes.
So week 6 of NFL is almost here, and because of that, we got our money on the Dallas Cowboys and Detroit Lions game, but we're going to be going with the total game of over 52. So I really like this bet, and I do believe that they will be going over in this matchup, and we're actually going to be placing $100 on this bet. So guys, when it comes to my platform that I use BetUS. Definitely go check them out. They have 150% bonus on your first deposit, and then 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. So we are going to be placing the bet. We're going to be risking $100 and also winning $90 if this bet does go through. I'm excited. We're just going to confirm it just like that, and in a span of 20 seconds we are good to go. We got a risk of $100, win of $90. We are good to go. So like I mentioned, guys, definitely go check out BetUS. 150% bonus on your first deposit, and then 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. So as you guys see, the Dallas Cowboys haven't been having the best season so far, being 3-2. Now, when it comes to the NFC East, we see Commanders running the floor with a 4-1 record. Eagles 2-2, and Giants also 2-3. And it does actually have the Cowboys having a 42% chance to make the playoffs. So they definitely need to change this up and change this up quick because they didn't get off to the greatest start coming into this season. So I definitely see that being a big issue, but they have been able to pull together a couple of wins, winning against the Steelers on a massive comeback and also actually beating the New York Giants. Now, heading into the next week, they actually face off against none other than the Detroit Lions, which I think is going to be a fantastic game, do not get me wrong. But this is a make or break game for them, especially with the way the season has been going. The Dallas Cowboys haven't really been able to pull together such great plays and have themselves a very decent game. Even the times that they have won, it didn't really seem as convincing as Dallas Cowboys fans and also ESPN analysts believe to see. Dak Prescott is definitely leading the way. He did a fantastic job against the Steelers, leading that offense and really charging them into victory. But I do believe changes need to be made if the Dallas Cowboys want a proper opportunity to actually make the playoffs.